Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Madison Realty Capital, New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, AmTrust Title, Ariel Property Advisors, Customers Bank, Capital One Bank, Meridian Capital Group. Additional funding has been provided by grants from AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Citizens Bank, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, CPEX Real Estate Services, Douglaston Development Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott INC, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, John Castamatidis Red Apple Group, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Merengoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends. $62 million visitors. Can you imagine? 62 million visitors coming to the Big Apple. Where do they stay? They have to stay in the hotels. So today I've assembled this group, or combination with Celeste, my executive producer. We've assembled this group of distinguished people involved with the hospitality industry to say, what are the opportunities out there and what's happening in hospitality? So I have the CEO and managing director of MCR, Tyler Morse, who is building the new TWA Hotel at JFK, which is going to be a landmark property. My executive producer, Celeste Burgers, who is Specialty Lending VP at M&T Bank. Alan Gross, who has another magnificent hotel in the financial district called the Beekman, who is the chairman and CEO of GFI Capital Resources. And last but not least, we have Nico Moynihan, who is a principal at Fortuna Realty Group. So let's talk a little bit about where these people stay, the 62 million visitors to New York. They have the opportunity to stay at the new TWA, and they also have the High Line plus other hotels. Tell us what your thoughts, Tyler.
I think if you look at the New York market over the past 25 years, back in the big SRO days, there was 150,000 hotel rooms. In the 70s and 80s, all the SROs were converted. That number went down to about 70,000 hotel rooms in the mid-2000s. It's now at about 115,000 hotel rooms.
Over the last 10 years, we've seen maybe 30,000 hotel rooms come up.
Yeah, that's the 70,000 in 2005, 2006, to 115,000 now, on its way to 130,000, give or take.
But 62 million visitors, okay?
There's plenty of people. The best New York City statistic that I love is you look at any year in New York City, 2003, which was the worst year in a long time, 2007, 2009, today, occupancy is always 85% across the city. It just depends on the rate. There's plenty of visitors. People want to come to New York City. You get into currency debates, and that affects the summer travel season. You get into South American, the Brazilian traveler has gone away over the last couple of years, but been replaced by the Chinese traveler. Some Chinese tour groups stay outside of Manhattan to save some money. A lot of people stay in Times Square. There's plenty of demand. The business demand in New York City right now is just going nuts, right? There's a ton of great business opportunities in New York. People need to come here to get financing. People want to go to Times Square. They want to go to, now we're going to have, I think, a fourth major observation deck when Hudson Yards opens. So we have One World Trade, Rockefeller Center, Empire State Building, and now Hudson Yards. The water has become activated again, right? If you look back 15 years ago, nobody would ever get on a boat in the harbor. Now people take boats out all the time. You can go up and around the islands and stuff. There's a lot of great stuff to do in New York City, plenty of demand.
So why are you the leading banker in the hospitality marketplace?
I wouldn't say we're the leading banker in hotels. I think that we've done it for a number of years, and we've done it in good times, we've done it in bad times, and we've kind of found a formula where, you know, being one of the riskiest asset classes out there in terms of commercial real estate.
Risk? I mean,
Sure, your leases turn over every night.
Every night, your
You've
leases
got,
are- okay,
you know,
you know.
multiple parties involved that need to work together to, you know, create a successful property. Sure, no risk at all. But really, we've found a formula where, you know, we approach it in a conservative way. We look at first and foremost the sponsorship, because at the end of the day, you know, they are going to be the determining factor of the success of the hotel and obviously, you know, the performance of your loan. And then we don't tend to over-lever. I mean, you'll never find a lender admit to pushing leverage on any asset, but I think that is particularly the case for hotels.
I think what you're saying is you want your borrower to have skin in the game, as they would say, you know, which is
Absolutely.
something that all three of your clients, because you do business with all three
With
of
all
these
three,
individuals.
yes. You know, we determine the loan size based on obviously their proven track record in development, operating, their ability to navigate through the various cycles. So if they're, you know, if you're a long-term holder or not, that's very important. How much capital you have in the project is important, and what your overall strategy is. Obviously, with New York City being, you know, the top lodging market in the U.S., plenty of hotel rooms, you have to find a way to differentiate yourself. And so a lot of times, actually, probably the majority of our hotel book is made up of independent hotel product as opposed to the branded. Not to say that we don't finance any of the branded, but I think that is...
Which is an interesting point. I mean, Tyler and his company has been a major hotel owner, manager of hotels with brands, okay? Mm-hmm. So now your two properties in New York are the Highline Hotel and the TWA are not branded, okay? Allen's products were not branded. I mean, you've created the Ace brand, but before they weren't. Nico, some of your products were branded before, like the Wyndham, and you've changed them and you've gone to non-branded. How do you see the change taking place that people are, you know, at one time you needed that national brand. The hotel lending scheme 20 years ago, a bank wouldn't do anything unless they had a reservation system with a national brand.
I think it depends on the market. In New York City, it's not absolutely necessary to be affiliated with a international national franchise brands, because there's enough demand, hotel room night demand. So it's not something that we absolutely require for major gateway markets like New York City. That being said, outside of New York City, yes, we like to see a branded hotel, and not to knock the brands, because I think they have, you know, they continue to be successful.
A couple of years ago, I had the Hitteries on the show, and they were talking when they opened up the Marriott on 34th Street. They had no problem because it was Marriott. They had instantaneous recognition because people fight. They want the. Do you give any special brands to go to the Ace or to a GFI hotel? I want to get points. I want to get coupons. You know, that's the big item. But you've never worried about being a brand and not brand?
Outside New York, we do worry about it. New York happens to be a unique market from the standpoint that people come here, people read much more, you know, travel and leisure. They really prepare for their trip. If they're spending money coming to New York, they're preparing for that trip. And they want to go to restaurants. So all of our hotels, we lead off with great restaurants. You know, having a Breslin by April Bloomfield, having Scarpetta in the James, having Keith McNally and Tom Colicchio in the Beekman, So I think that is, it sells itself, and having the ability to really promote your product and showing how you're different than everything else.
I agree with Alan. In markets with latent demand, you don't need a brand.
You know, if you take what you did in Lower Manhattan, I mean, Lower Manhattan at one time had nice hotels, but nothing like the Beekman. It was a different.
Well, you got to remember, the Beekman was the first hotel built there in 20 years. There hasn't been anything.
Right, you had limited service hotels being built in Lower Manhattan.
Well, the two highest performing hotels in all of Manhattan are in Lower Manhattan. It's the Crosby Street Hotel and the Greenwich Hotel, both independent, non-branded.
How come your family
Not
changed
for
the brand?
It's
You're coming up fast.
really the sophistication of the customer. The customer has so many options, has access. They're able to go ahead and book a room in the city relatively quickly. They don't need to go through the third-party reservation systems to get into town to find deals. Overall, buyers are and users of hotel spaces are very sophisticated and have the capacity to be very selective with where they want to go. And if you have the right product and you have the right programming, you're going to do well.
What about the advent of the smaller hotel room, the mini room? What's your thoughts about that?
I believe there's a market for it. I believe in certain cases it makes sense. A particular property, if the best use for it is those smaller rooms based on layouts and so on and so forth, then there's definitely a market. Long term though, I think it's difficult to compete. To his point, in bad times, it can be very difficult in the middle of winter in January to really to make a dollar. It's very difficult.
Everything is Times Square, okay? Is that the best hospitality opportunity today? Or where do you feel the best opportunity for a hotel operator or a new hotel to be built?
I think it's anywhere in the city. It's just trying to be something to give to.
You're talking about the 5 boroughs?
No, I'm talking about New York City, meaning Manhattan.
Okay.
Okay? And guess what? We're building a hotel now in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, next to, right by Skimmerhorn and Bond Street. I think it's a great opportunity because there's a lot of people moving there. There's close to 30,000 residential units coming online, 3 million people living in Brooklyn. So I think looking anywhere in the city of New York, talking about where businesses are and a lot of residential units is always a good place for a hotel. Now the question is, what type of hotel? So downtown, you look at it and say, okay, there was never restaurants downtown. I've been downtown, my office has been downtown since 1991. Now today, you walk down just from my office to the garage, and I have to go the back way because it's so congested with people. You know, I remember the first time when we brought down M&T to come down and look at Beekman, and George DeRay, who was there at the time, says to me, Alan, did you go to Central Casting to hire all these people to stand in the street with baby carriages that I should see there are real people living here? And that was because of the Gehry building, which brought in a lot of families and a lot of people.
I mean, if you look at it this way, the High Line, what you have over there,
West Chelsea.
West Chelsea is an example. I mean, look, I think there are great opportunities in the Hudson Yards neighborhood.
Certainly.
Okay, right now. At one time, no one wanted to be near the Javits Center because it was destitute. Okay?
I owned a building on 34th Street, 455 West 34th Street. And I waited and I waited and I waited, and finally I said, it ain't never coming here. That was going to be,
You
that
sold
was
it?
many years ago. It was going to, with the thought of doing a conversion, and it should be a hotel.
What are the challenges for an operator to continue to be successful when there are difficulties potentially? Tyler?
Well, I always describe, Michael, the hotel, but if this is the real estate industry, it's like a hand. There's the big 4 food groups, industrial, retail, multifamily, and office. And then hotels are like the thumb.
The thumb is too far away from the others.
They're the ones, it's the one that's not like the others. It's an operating business, it's a branding business, it's a real estate business, it's a finance business. You have a ton of employees, you have the OTAs, it's somewhat of a technology business to get on the global distribution system. So what that does, it gives you more dials to turn in good times and in bad times. But it also adds to the complexity of the operation significantly. So I always say that people should not wade into the hotel business. It's not for the faint of heart. You shouldn't dip your toe in it, right? It's complicated. And you know what you're seeing with the consolidation of the OTAs, there used to be 10 of them. Now there's 2. It's Expedia and its family of brands and Booking.com and its family of brands. The rates for the OTAs keep coming down. To the extent that they keep coming down, that gives independent operators a nice release valve to fill the rooms at a non-egregious rate. They used to charge 20% commission. Now they're at 15% commission, on their way to 12% commission. You get that number down to 8%, and
You can live.
it's a very reasonable number.
It's like your franchise fee.
We're no longer frenemies, right? And that's in bad times. Right now, the OTAs are kind of getting pushed aside, and then you come into bad times, and the pendulum swings back the other direction as hotel operators panic. So there's lots of opportunity for the savvy operator, but a lot of people dabble in the hotel business, and they don't do it full time. And they're not usually the best operators.
I still remember it was maybe 2010, 2011, when an individual came to me, really going back to 2007, and he said there was a need for a gay and a lesbian hotel on 42nd Street. And he had no experience whatsoever in this market, and he took over a hotel, and the hotel failed, okay? It just didn't work. Because part of the situation that he didn't realize is that the W Hotel was gearing themselves to the other hospitality were gay and lesbian friendly. So he was at the wrong time in the wrong place, you know. So there's a different market. And now I'm not sure if it ever opened up. Now that they've tried to rebrand it as the Playboy Hotel.
Yeah.
Okay. Also with an entity who doesn't have experience in the hospitality. They have experience in the restaurant business, but not in the hotel business.
As a rule of thumb, you should never ever try and build a hotel to cater to one particular group of customers, because all you're doing is you're cutting off 3 of your legs, and you have maybe 3 toes left to stand on. When you push customers away from you, you're setting yourself up for failure, really.
You know, with all the visitors and everything else, we've lost event space, okay, which has become everything. I mean, the Waldorf had so much event space that there is a need for event space. How is that being taken care of with regard to your hotel and with regard to your new hotel?
We have focused very much on group business and event space. At the James Nomad, we built a beautiful brand new ballroom. We have meeting rooms galore. It's a very important component, especially when you want to build rate and occupancy, because the beauty of group business is that they really book 4 months in advance. So you're able to prepare yourself and be able to prepare your rates, not waking up every morning and figuring, okay, who's going to check in today?
Right.
So it's a great source of business, and you're right, most of the new hotels do not have event space or meeting space.
Right.
So we're building 50,000 square feet of event space at TWA. So we can have a conference and an event for 1,600 people. It's the largest event space built on Long Island since the Nassau Coliseum. So I think we'll probably do 100 weddings a year. We'll do 50 bar mitzvahs a year. We have a kosher kitchen built into the building. And you know, we're going to do a lot of group business. It's a 512 room hotel, so it's pretty good size. And so you know, we're also really being a part of the local community. We expect to have a lot of events from Garden City, from the Southern State Parkway, from the Brooklyn community. It's not just the airport demand. but it's the whole southern state community down there. And the
You know-
group business is terrific business. To Alan's point, they book way ahead of time. They spend a lot of money on F&B. And we have a 200,000 square foot lobby. So they got a lot of space
So
to
wait,
explore.
what are you going to put in a 200,000 square foot lobby?
We have 8 restaurants, 6 bars, 7 retailers. We have a lot of fun stuff for the kids, for grown-ups. We have a rooftop pool and an observation deck. You really get to explore Eero Saarinen's masterpiece when you come to the TWA building.
That was a specialty hotel. How difficult was it for you to put financing together on that?
Well, a construction loan is always going to be one of the more challenging, types of money that we put out there. We do some of it. Of our hotel book, I think 80% is made up of cash flowing hotels and the 20% is construction. So it's always a challenging. And in the case of Tyler's deal, it was a large syndicated facility. So, it added to kind of the dealing with multiple lenders and putting the deal together. But I think ultimately the bank saw, what Tyler and his team were trying to create there, and that it was truly going to be, geared towards a captive market. Just like our standard kind of fundamental hotel lending, you put the right amount of leverage on it, there's the right amount of capital, obviously it's a strong collateral. And I think we put together Tyler can hopefully vouch for us. I think we put together a compelling deal, and hopefully that hotel will be open before we all know it.
Yeah, it was a terrific partnership.
No question. How do you see the opportunities for the hospitality industry in New Jersey and Long Island? I mean, you own the Garden City Hotel,
Yes.
which is probably the premier hotel, which will now have major competition from Tyler.
Mostly eat
But
lunch.
but also because you have larger event space than you have over there. But the Garden City has done rather well. Also, the fact that my friend David Burke is running their operation, which helps out on the food and F&B. How do you look at the suburbs?
I would not try and avoid the suburbs as much as possible, unless certain opportunities do present themselves, some distress situations, estate sales, or any unique opportunity. But to buy a hotel in the suburbs, personally, I would not encourage anyone to do so. The big thing that most of us are excited for is really the airports. And unfortunately, for the last 30 years, we've had some major deferred capital improvements go into our 3 major airports in the city. And I think all of us are salivating at the opportunity, once the airports expand their capacity. These airports were built for, I think, about maybe 20 or 25% of the capacity that they're taking today. When the funding gets in place, and when hopefully we have more lenders like M&T support these government projects, once these airports come online, I think there may be some more opportunities in the suburbs then. But for right now, I would
Well,
just wait for the airports.
My opinion on New Jersey and Long Island is that you really have to be specifically focused on those markets. You can't have 1 or 2 hotels there and be primarily in Manhattan, because they're completely different markets and completely different demand drivers, et cetera. So, we have a handful of sponsors that we have exposure to in New Jersey and Long Island. They're building great projects. They're typically branded out there. But our opinion is that you've really got to be an owner-operator in New Jersey, in Long Island, in order to find success in operating hotels there.
Yeah, we own 85 hotels in 26 states. We used to own 8 hotels in New Jersey. We had a couple on Long Island. They did fine, but it's really localized demand. The demand comes within 5 or 10 miles of the hotel. It's not macro investing. You're not thinking about how many visas that the Chinese consulate in Shanghai is issuing for outbound travel, right? It's because you're near Merck, Johnson & Johnson, or, we owned a bunch of hotels in big pharma country. We owned 2 hotels in Egg Harbor, New Jersey, Terrific performers because they were across the street from the FAA's regional headquarters. We were 15 miles outside of Atlantic City, so that has a lot of bad headlines to it. Atlantic City, a suburb of Atlantic City, but they performed terrific. They were extended stay hotels, and because of the FAA's demand. You know, they're lower volatility in the suburbs. You know, my favorite hotel story is the Sheraton, New York, the big box, 1,780 keys on 7th Avenue. In the year 2000, it did $90 million of EBITDA. In the year 2003, it did $15 million of EBITDA. In 2007, it did $82 million of EBITDA. And then in 2009, it did $20 million of EBITDA. So that's the kind of volatility that you get in Manhattan. And in New Jersey, the volatility curve is much lower. Same thing on Long Island. However, you're not getting $300 ADR in the good times.
You get 170.
Yeah, you get 125.
Okay.
And in the bad times, you get 100. So you're just playing a lower volatility curve, but you have lower construction costs. It's a very different model.
Different world.
To Celeste's point.
So in summation, it sounds like there's going to be enough rooms to handle the 62 million visitors. I think the opportunities are there for food and beverage, as we were saying, meeting spaces. Okay, non-branded hotels survive and do well in New York. And I think my shiny crystal apples are seen bright. And I'd like to thank Tyler, Celeste, Alan, and Nico, and I'll see you next week.